Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Resuming debate, reprise de débat. The honourable member for Cowichan-Malahat-Langford.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I really want to start off by my speech by commending my friend and colleague from South Okanagan, West Kootenay, for bringing in this bill, because I think it very much demonstrates not only to his constituents but also to the people of British Columbia, to people across this great country who are involved in the wood industry, that we can actually bring forward practical solutions to support the work that they do to promote what is truly a sustainable industry. And Madam Speaker, if I can just add a personal note, I have had my own personal involvement in this industry, although at one section of it. For me, in a previous life, I had the honor of working as a tree planter in British Columbia's forests for 8 years. I've planted trees everywhere from Kamloops to Merritt to Prince George to northern Vancouver Island. I have had an incredible glimpse of the wonderful province I get to call home. And of course, we have had bad forestry practices in the past, but those practices have largely changed. And I've seen from my own point of view, when I have been in there planting trees, that forestry companies really are taking into mind what consumers want. They want that certification because they know a lot of the people who buy wood products are looking for wood that is harvested in a sustainable manner. And we know that across this great country, there are thousands of Canadians who either directly or indirectly get their living from working in this important industry. So, Madam Speaker, let us look at what Bill C-354 purports to do. It's going to amend the Department of Public Works and Government Services Act to require that in the awarding of certain contracts, preference be given to projects that promote the use of wood. And we can see that by the bill adding, after subsection 1 of section 7 of that act, that it adds a new 1.1 section. So, Madam Speaker, I think it's been noted in a few speeches, but it should be noted again that great advances have been made in tall wood construction. And we now know that with today's technology, it is very much possible to construct large, safe wood buildings quickly and economically. Building with wood produces lower greenhouse gas emissions and sequesters more carbon than with other products. And this can really help Canada achieve and reach our greenhouse gas targets under the Paris Agreement. That is something I think that all members, and indeed many citizens of this country, want us to do with sound policy. And of course, we know in my own neck of the woods in coastal British Columbia, the forestry sector has really come under a very tough time over the last several decades. And given the difficulties the forestry sector has faced for the past 20 years, I think that innovation and new developments like those that allow this kind of construction offer a path forward for the future health of this sector. As the largest procurer in Canada, the federal government can give this sector a major boost by using this cutting-edge technology at home. Now, Madam Speaker, most of the sawmills in my riding of Cowichan-Malahat-Langford are operated by Western Forest Products, and they have facilities up and down Vancouver Island. They have a total number of employees that is just over 2,000. This is based on 2012 figures. It might even be higher by now. But they also sold over $1 billion worth of product, both at home and abroad. And the sawmills that I have within my riding, I've got one that's located in Cowichan Bay. I've got 2 facilities in Chemainus. And, you know, in the last election and even since then, I've really had the pleasure to get to know many of the men and women who are proud unionized members of the United Steelworkers who operate in those facilities, who have good paying jobs, who have the ability to live in our communities, to raise families, and contribute to the local economy, all because of the focal point of those important sawmills within my riding, and I'm sure within many honourable members' ridings in this chamber. You know, when you look at the industry, Madam Speaker, we know that people very much are a critical part of wood processing industries. And that's everywhere from the employees to the people that live in the communities where they operate. Many people directly or indirectly depend on the sustainability of the business, and they do this by continually building the business, protecting the tenure that they have, by working cooperatively with external agencies and groups on progressive approaches to policy and operations. I believe that the industry has really come a long way, and that it is very much committed to the communities in which it works, through employment, through sponsorships, and various operational public forums, such as our public advisory groups. And we know that the employees, the heart of any business operation, which are the employees, they are dedicated to safety, to professionalism, to their co-workers, the stakeholders, and customers. And they really have a unique skill set which they use to achieve excellence with. Now, I just want to say a few things about wood itself as a building material. First of all, Madam Speaker, it is beautiful. I think that each piece of wood is a unique creation of nature. It's a fascinating process that allows such a small seedling, which I had the honor of planting all throughout British Columbia, to grow into such a massive and mighty giant, and from which we can derive such an amazing material. It's durable. It offers more strength in proportion to its weight than any other material. It is renewable. All the trees are harvested sustainably in sustainably managed timberlands, and they are renewed through reforestation. That is part of the law of the province of British Columbia, that every company that harvests timber is responsible for replanting it. It is also an environmentally friendly product, Madam Speaker. It is low impact, green alternative to energy intensive building materials such as concrete, aluminum, steel, and vinyl, and that must be all manufactured from non-renewable resources using petroleum and other carbon-intensive resources in their production. And I don't want to say that we stop using those other products, but if we are really serious as a nation for finding a sustainable building material that will actually help us achieve our goals in greenhouse gas reduction, well, wood is absolutely the first place to be looking. It is biodegradable, Madam Speaker, and recyclable. Wood products decompose and naturally return to the environment, unlike most manufactured or composite building materials, which can end up spending hundreds of years in landfills. It is reusable, whether as beams or compost products. It is also, Madam Speaker, a natural insulator. It insulates against heat and cold, which saves energy. In fact, wood is 400 times more effective as insulation than steel and 1,800 more times effective than aluminum. So one of the big things that we've really seen in many of the debates tonight is the importance for carbon storage. Forests absorb carbon dioxide emissions that are part of the greenhouse gases that are connected to climate change and store carbon in the fiber of the wood that they grow. The structures that are built from wood products continue to store this carbon while healthy young forests continue to absorb it. I think that consumers, retailers, investors, and communities are taking an increased interest in how their buying decisions affect the environment for future generations. And that's something that, as a father of young children, that I'm very much concerned with. And that considering factors beyond the traditional attributes of price, service, and quality. When all of wood's positive attributes are factored in, it is obvious that wood is a good choice. Now, I see, Madam Speaker, that my time is starting to run low, so I will begin my conclusion. I will note that in the federal government's budget 2017, it provided Natural Resources Canada with $39.8 million over 4 years, which will begin in fiscal year 2018-19 to support projects and activities that increase the use of wood as a greener substitute material in infrastructure projects. I believe that bringing this forward is basically our way of calling on the government to act on a good idea that they already support in a very reasonable way. It's going to allow us to show our important support for the forestry communities across Canada and those who work in the industry while reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. So in closing, Madam Speaker, I want to again thank my friend and colleague for bringing forward this important bill. From what I've seen so far, I think there's general support from all of the major parties especially for members who are lucky to have forestry communities within their ridings. And I very much look forward to seeing this bill proceed to committee, because I think that's where the honourable members of the committee can do the important work, hear from witnesses, and really get the factual basis for why this is a good idea for the federal government to move forward on. Thank you.